Hi everybody, Dr. Lisa Erickson with Climbing Injuries Solved. I just got these awesome new tools in the mail courtesy of KnotOut.com, and I wanted to cover them because as for climbing injury tools, we really don't have that much to work on ourselves with in our current sport. We have the arm aid, we all know about the arm aid, but very few of us know about cheap, super affordable alternatives. So I wanted to present these to you guys because this is such a cheap, affordable way of working on ourselves. So so the whole principle behind them is the balls are either a hard rubber or they are a soft foam. And so depending upon the athlete, you might need a harder rubber if you are more of a muscular person. This one, or you might need a soft foam one if you have a new injury or you're taller or lankier. I just had this discussion with a patient who is, I think she's 5'4", 140 some pounds. She's a super thick, athletic, high muscle volume patient. So a soft foam one would not really do anything for her. She really needs a hard one to be able to delve through all that muscle material. So when I originally spoke with this company, I was interested in the soft stuff because these little tiny foam ball guys I think feels really good on me, but I have less muscle mass than the average person because I have an ultra running background, so super thin muscle volume wise versus some of you muscle bound creatures out there. So for me, these soft guys work best. So let's kind of go through these. Arm aids, somewhere around $70 at the cheapest. These little guys, $12.95, really cheap. These guys I think are $16, and then these bigger ones are, I believe, $25 or $29. So yeah, they're more expensive, but it's a lot cheaper than arm aids. So, but that's not why I want to talk to you guys. I want to present these little ones. Caught my eye at one of the rock tape seminars. I'm moving everything out of the way here. Oh boy, they're flying around. Okay, there we are. So these little guys, we don't really have anything to work on our forearms. I mentioned you guys prior to this about working on it with a can of soup or maybe getting in there with a tennis ball. I want to reinforce the notion that all of our vessels, so we have arteries that pump blood out to the hand. We also have veins that pump blood back up from the hand. These veins, if you can see them, these blue guys, they actually have one-way valves in them. So, trying to see if I can find any. I have one right here. You can't really see it, but if I were to push downwards, you will see these little bumps start to stick out of the skin. There's one right here. As I push downwards, this little round thing starts to pop up. What that is that's a one-way valve, just like the valves of our heart. So when the blood pushes the heart out to the hand through the arteries, the red vessels, it's got something to propel it out, to come back the other way through our veins. We don't have a heart out here to pump it back. As we're grabbing things and as we're using our hand, that will help to pump the blood back up to the heart. But it's not that effective, especially with the legs. You know, our blood pools in the bottom of our legs. So our body's anatomy, the way that it deals with it is to put one-way valves in here. So what those one-way valves look like is they both tilt down, and as the blood comes up through the vessel, they will actually open up and let all of the blood through, and then they will close again. So if you are pushing it down with your tool and you're pushing from the elbow down to the hand, you're actually damaging those one-way valves. So something to think about when you're carrying bags, carrying backpacks, when you're doing your own self-care. I do not want you pushing from the elbow down to the hand. I want to train you guys to systematically be going through, and all of our work is pulling from the palm up, hand up. Same thing with the legs. We're going from our knees, feet up towards the heart. I don't want to catch you pushing thigh down, knee down, calf down, because you can damage these little guys. So with that said, working from the fingers into the hand, we'll just start on the fingertips, slowly working on these guys. If you have an injured pulley, you're going to feel it. So it's a good little intervention, so to speak, of noticing you actually have an injury. Usually we will feel soreness way before we ever injure the darn thing, unless it's a traumatic tear. So we want to just go in and start working on those first, and we're just loosening up the muscles. So our lumbricals are the muscles that do this, attach on the inside of each one of our knuckles in here. And what they do when they're contracting and relaxing is bringing the fingers in and out. So we want to kind of start on their attachments and pushing towards the heart. We're just rolling up. So that is a good start to getting those guys to start loosening up. If you want to find some rubber balls, some marbles, do the same thing. Just look around your house, see what you can find. You don't have to use this tool. I just think it's a super nifty, super cheap way of doing your own muscle work. So then going into the palm, we have all kinds of muscles in our palm. Definitely, especially for the thumb, opponens, adductor, abductor, all these little guys in here. And definitely our flexors all come through here. We've got a bunch inside the hand, intrinsic muscles, and then of course the major muscles to flex the tips of our fingers and to bend the palm all come from way up here. So yes, if this hurts, you don't want to just be working in there, you want to be working way up here too. So starting at the wrist, starting at the palm, we're slowly rolling that tissue. We want it to become loose, flexible. We don't want it fibrous and hard and tough. And we want to get all the way up into kind of the attachment up here. If your skin is stuck to the muscle underneath it, those are adhesions. Those all need to be broken up. You should be able to grab your skin and you should be able to roll your skin and not have it just adhered in there. So go through and look, because if you have a sore spot, the likelihood of that skin actually being adhered to the tissue underneath it is quite high. And the reasoning why that is whenever inflammation pools in that area, the skin itself can actually get adhered to the soft tissue underneath it, be that muscle, be it like a fibrous membrane over the muscle. Have you ever eaten chicken breast and peeled off that thin film over the top of the muscle? That's fascia, and it goes from muscle to muscle, and it kind of intertwines, so to speak, all the way down the whole, what we call the kinetic chain. So from your hand all the way up into the forearm, all the way up into the muscles, into the pec, and all the way, perhaps, they're all interconnected. So I really want to push you guys into not thinking that it's just one muscle here and one muscle there and one muscle in your leg. They crisscross through the body, and we need to keep all of that loose and flexible so it can glide along itself. So when you're doing the muscle work, I want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Our bodies are primarily mostly water, so if you don't have enough water in your tissues, those tissues are going to have friction. Less water means less space, and the more friction there is, the more these things are going to wear and tear, and as there's friction, the body starts to reinforce those areas and put more thick, fibrous material between these tissue layers. So instead of it being smooth and glossy and gliding, we start to get crepitus, or what we call, crepitus is another word for clunking or kind of grinding in there. Some people say, oh, I feel kind of this sand-like feeling in my neck when I rotate my head. That is just little bits of granular scar tissue. So don't freak out about that. But our whole goal is just to get all this loose and symmetrical. And as you might notice when you're doing your muscle work, you might get a little bit of redness in a specific area that you don't have in another area. And that is us just breaking up that scar tissue, because it very much is 3D. The body doesn't reinforce things on one plane. So say you use your muscle in this fashion and the muscle's gliding this way. If you have enough friction and the body brings in reinforcement, which it's going to, those fibers are going to crisscross every single direction, kind of like a starburst, kind of like a piece of bubble gum in there. So just imagine this gigantic 3D piece of bubble gum in there that is connecting all the different muscle fibers to each other and connecting that muscle to the film, the fascia that goes over the muscle, so it can no longer smoothly glide. So make sure you're hydrated. When you see red spots, just make sure that we're gliding the skin underneath that and make sure there's no adhesions in there. Adhesions are those little things that stick the skin to the tissue underneath it, and we're just going to keep working on it. So each day, I climbed today, I'm kind of sore, and I can definitely feel my pulleys. I did some mountain biking this weekend too. Extra mean negative bonus on those poor guys. So I'm just going to go into all the muscles and tendons that attach down there and loosen them up so that they stop pulling on that area. So that is today's kind of coverage of the KnotOut. These guys, these little tiny guys, are great for palms. They're great for soles of the feet. Achilles tendon, bottom of the calf, and then also for forearms. And they come in soft and hard, both for $12.95. The next one up is kind of a more firm. They're still what we call a baby roller. They're still tiny. These might be better for someone who has a little more muscle mass on the forearm, who wants to get deeper into the muscle. If you are a smaller body style,